Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, where we'll explore adventure, spirituality, and empowerment through the outdoors and beyond. Join me, Karla Amador, as we focus on topics around the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also hear inspiring stories, get educated, and more. Let's get started. Are you ready to take a life-changing journey? Join me for a hike per week or 52 hikes within a year at 52hikechallenge.com. Gain the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through the outdoors. You'll also gain access to community, education, resources, and more. Plus, get 10% off on your sign up and first order with code RISE25. That's RISE25. See you on the trails. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rise and Wander podcast, season 4, episode 2. My name is Karla. I'm your host. I am the founder of the 52 Hike Challenge. We help people to get outdoors, to commit to a hike once a week for a year or 52 times within the year. And this podcast season is all about helping people to get outside, teaching you what you need to know to help you get comfortable going outdoors, going for a hike. And I hope that this season is really going to help you to feel confident that you can hike and get outside. And I'm going to give you all the resources and tools. And so for today's episode, we are talking all about the essentials, the basics. Let's start at I'm new to hiking. I'm new to getting outside. I don't even know where to start. One of the top things you can do to start is to even just start walking around your neighborhood, getting used to how you feel in terms of where you are in correlation to where you started. I actually am very grateful that I can go outside of my backyard and I can be on a trail. And so just start getting used to this idea of like navigation and direction. So one of the best things you can do when you're first starting, like I said, is just start walking. Just start walking. If you see a trail, you can make a plan and a goal to go hiking on that trail and then start getting comfortable with figuring out where you are. So I know navigating is like a big topic to start with, but I just want you to start thinking. One of the ways I do that is I pull out my phone, and most maps have a way to navigate. I'm going to talk a lot about the app that I recommend for starters, which is AllTrails. Basically, what you want to do is once you have your phone, because that's probably what you're going to start with. Let's just say you're on this trail that you saw. You decide, hey, I'm going to go check that out. You're going to first start by navigating and point your map and see where your north is. Once you know where your north is and you know where your east, south, west is, you can see when you point your phone the direction you're walking, if you're going north, east, south, or west. So I just want you to start thinking about this concept. It might sound hard and scary, but it's basically something that is really important to just start getting used to it. So that is probably going to make some of you feel uncomfortable. And guess what? Getting outdoors and getting outside, going hiking, anything important, anything big that is a life-saving thing is going to feel uncomfortable possibly. It's such a great thing to practice. It's such a great skill to work on. And yes, so let's scale back again, bringing your phone and navigating if needed, and just get comfortable with walking outdoors. So one of the best things you can do before you get started or when you're thinking about getting started is going to your local parks, your local state parks. A lot of times those local parks are going to have very well marked trails, which is going to be great. Before you go, I'd like for you to start getting comfortable downloading an app called AllTrails. It's one of my favorite ones for starters. I know I have heard from others that they prefer other apps, and that's fine. But why I like AllTrails is there's a lot of preloaded hikes already, trails that you can download. You do have to pay for their upgraded plus version of their app, but I think it's worth it. I don't remember what the current price is right now. I think it's like $30, but it's well worth it. And by the way, when you sign up for the 52 hike challenge, we have a coupon code for 30% off your annual subscription. So definitely make sure to use that code when you sign up for our challenge. Yeah. So you want to basically download the app and start getting comfortable, and you can search local trails. You can look by difficulty level. There's lots of parameters you can put in there, dog friendly trails, etc. So you can just start looking at the trails near you. Now, if you're going to be offline somewhere that there's no reception, you will not be able to navigate, because in order to download these maps, you need that upgraded version. But if you are in a city where there's reception, you can actually use your phone and navigate. Also, make sure your phone is fully charged before you go outside, and make sure that you have a full battery so that you're not navigating and then lose reception. But starting out at state parks, they're going to have lots of maps. You can even probably print one off the internet, which is a great idea, by the way. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But just having some way that you're able to navigate. There's a lot of tools. I want to give you the confidence that you can do this. It is going to, again, make you a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but honestly, the freedom it gives you once you learn how to navigate, you can go anywhere. You can hike anywhere and feel confident. If something happens, I know how to get out of that situation. So once you download the app, you're going to start looking through some different hikes. Let's just say you're like, hey, there's a local park here. Even if you know of a local trail that you've been on, just to start navigating, you can bring your app with you and start getting used to like where you're at. With AllTrails, it actually pinpoints your location and it shows you where you are in relation to the trail. And as long as you know where you parked, I know with the downloaded version, it allows you to see that, but you just need to have your waypoints or your navigational points. You want to make sure that you know, okay, here's where I parked. And then when you're navigating, you're following along a trail, and you might see different trail systems on AllTrails. By the way, I will say, sometimes there's trails that are listed on AllTrails that are not actually maintained. That happens to me a lot when I go, and since I know how to navigate, I sometimes will see, oh, there's like a side trail here. I'm going to take that. Sometimes there's social trails. So just be mindful. Social trails are trails you do not want to be on, because they are either game trails and they're not sanctioned by the park. So they're not maintained, and we don't want to create new trails. Use your local park maps, use AllTrails preloaded maps. Usually they're pretty set to go. And then when you're on your hike, test yourself, look up your map and see, like, where am I? Oh, cool. I see the trail. I'm on it. I'm going to go back this way. A note on when you're first starting out, I know like I'm starting with the big things that you need to really think through, as we want to get you from like beginner to like more advanced. But elevation gain is something to really be mindful of. And elevation gain is how steep you're going to go up. If you're climbing a hill or a mountain, that elevation gain is going to be important for you to understand. So when you're searching for your trails, if you see more than 500 feet of elevation gain, it's going to be steep. Anything under that, there's going to be some steep, some up and down, but I think a beginner will be okay with something like that. So you want to start off with hikes that are maybe 3 miles under 500 feet of elevation gain. That's a good starting point. If you're really new to hiking, start with 1 mile and just see how you feel. There is a local mountain here that is under a mile to the summit, and it's 800 feet of elevation gain. So it's literally like a mountain up. I love going up there because it's a good workout for me, but someone who's new might attempt that and feel like it was really hard. So if you see something like that, you can try. I'm not saying don't, but just recognize that's what the elevation entails. So if in a mile you're going to go up 800 feet, it's going to be steep. If in a mile you're going to go 300, 400, there's will be some climbing. So yes, learning, getting your bearings essentially. you want to start by just getting outside and paying attention to where am I in relation to this mountain? Where am I in relation to the river? Start getting these things in your head that as I'm navigating, I'm paying attention to my surroundings. And that actually is going to be one of the key things that you need to know when you're actually navigating using a map and compass. Okay, so I know we went deep right away, but I'm actually going to give you some other tips before I get started and introducing what's called the 10 essentials. Other things is when you're first starting out, going with friends, asking friends who are avid hikers, hey, I'd like to get started hiking. Would you take me hiking with you? A lot of them are going to be like, yeah, absolutely. Checking for local groups on our website at 52hikechallenge.com. We have a whole plethora of resources. We have local hiking groups that are listed in there. We even have chapters with hiking groups that go out hiking together. And again, local parks. You don't only have to go hiking at national parks with rangers, but local parks have programming. Your city sometimes has programming. Start searching meetup.com. You can go online and say local hiking groups in Santa Fe. There's affinity hiking groups. There's the Sierra Club. So that's one of the best ways to start learning. There's also courses you can take, hiking courses, which I took the Sierra Club's wilderness travel course back when I lived in California, and it was one of the best experiences of my life, and it taught me so much. And since then, I've gone on and learned so much throughout the years. I've actually paid mountaineering companies to guide me on trips, and basically there's so much you can learn. And I never stop learning when it comes to the outdoors. So I want you to know that this is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't have to be perfect to get started. You just need to start. You need to like make it a point and actually go with someone. Go with your spouse, go with your dog, go with a friend. Make it an adventure. This is a part of learning something new, and I'm so excited for you. Other things that you definitely need to do is checking the weather and making sure that you have the appropriate gear. Now, today we're not going to talk all about like clothing and essentials. We're just going to talk about something called the 10 essentials. So I brought the basics with me, and I wanted to add making sure you have layers. If it's chilly, bring a jacket. And if it gets hotter throughout the day, being able to take off the jacket, putting it in a pack, depending on how long you're going. When you are getting out there for the first time, you can start off with your basic items that you have at home clothing wise. I'm going to pull up one thing that I think is really great. Good hiking shoes is one of the top things I would start with. I am very grateful to Obo's Footwear, who is one of our sponsors. This is my current favorite hiking boot right here. This is called the Hyalite. But the reason why I love this shoe is because it is versatile. I can take this on my local hike if I want to, on a shorter hike, on a more strenuous hike. So traction is what you want to look for in your shoes, because when you're on the hiking trail, there's going to be rocks. The shoes that are more flat, they're not going to have a lot of traction, so you're going to slip easier, right? So this is a great versatile shoe. You could wear it in the winter time, you could wear it in the summertime. It's super fun, colorful. Anyhow, little shout out to our sponsor there. Yeah, having a good pair of shoes is going to be really good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in to the 10 essentials. And these are the items that I think are really important. Let me tell you a little bit about the 10 essentials. Okay, so this book is Freedom of the Hills, Mountaineering by the Mountaineers. And they actually are the ones that came up with the 10 essentials. And I'm actually gonna have my book out just because I think it's cool. But if you're interested in getting outside more and getting to that ultimate level of knowledge, this is like the Bible for hikers, backpackers, mountaineers, through hikers. This is like the go-to. But the 10 essentials were created by the mountaineers. These are the 10 items that would, in case of an emergency, would help you to stay safe and Technically, you would be able to stay out overnight if you needed to, because you would have these items in your pack that would help you to be able to survive overnight. I just thought it was cool to share what it says. It's always been if you can respond positively to an accident or emergency, and second, can you safely spend a night or more out? That's directly quoted from the book. Okay, so let's just jump right into these 10 essentials. And by the way, I would say if you're new to hiking, start gathering these items. This is going to be a really good system when you're going in the backcountry, when you're going for longer hikes. I always say carry this with you, but of course, I now at this point, when I go on my local river walk, I'll just bring the water bottle, my keys, and such. But if I'm going somewhere new in the backcountry or I'm going with friends, I will bring all of this all the time. So let's get started. Number one is navigation, and that includes your map and your compass. So I actually have this here. I'm not going to get too into detail with it. I just wanted to show you. This is actually a map that I received when I went to do a trek in Patagonia. Traditionally, when you go for a trip, you would like, especially in the backcountry, you would want to have a map like this. This is going to have, it's called a topo map. Okay, so this map is going to give you the scale. It's going to show you how they measure a mile, that kind of a thing. Also, it's going to have topo lines. It'll tell you like if it's 80 or 40-foot intervals. Ultimately, I guess what I wanted to show you is this is very complex. Learning how to navigate is a course that should be taken in person. I've taken it multiple times and still find it very complicated and difficult. The reason why this is an essential is if something happens and you lose your phone, your battery dies, and you're in the middle of the wilderness and you're like, I don't really know where I am, knowing these skills will help you to get out. And there is so much to learn. Like there's a way that you put lines on the map that help you to navigate back. Let's say you were in a blizzard or something like that happened. You would be able to get out using your map and your compass. I just want to highly encourage you to take a class and to practice. This is something that I've taken multiple classes and still something that I need to continue to practice my own skills. So that is a little bit on map and compass. So let's just say I'm going to my local park. I have some sort of a map. It's probably not going to be as detailed. I can print it online. Some parks have a map you can get there at the front, but try to have some way that you've already printed out a map or you have it downloaded, especially if you're in the back country. I'm going to actually, I have my pack here and I'm going to put these items in just so that you can see how I'm packing my pack also for my day hike or for my backpacking trips. So I just put my map in there and my compass. Next up, we're going to go through sun protection, making sure to protect yourself from the elements because the sun is really hot, having a hat, some sunglasses, and I always like to carry sunscreen and lip balm in my pack. I actually put those in a little baggie just in case sunscreen explodes, but just always having some way to keep the sun away and protect yourself. So let's put that in the pack. Okay. Next, insulation and extra clothing. Okay, this is where you need to look at your weather. Like I said, before you go out, check the weather and see what things you need to have, but always carry extra items in case weather comes in. For that, I like to have a fleece. This is a really good option. It's light enough that if it's cool, it keeps you warm. Also, when you layer this with your other items, it will keep you extra warm. So this is my fleece that I like taking out. It's really lightweight, and we'll talk more about gear and why I picked fleece, but I just wanted to show you. So some sort of sweater. We're not going to talk too much about winter hiking. I did bring some items here. I'm not going to put this one in my pack because we're not going into winter hiking, but this is my REI Puffy Magma jacket that I love. If it's really chilly, then you would maybe have something like that. Again, we won't get too in depth today with layers, but the one thing I will talk about that I think is one of the top things you want to buy in the future or make sure to have in your pack is a rain jacket. So I just got this one because my other one, I think, finally had its end of life. So this is my new outdoor research rain jacket. So far, have been very happy with it. And it doesn't take up too much space. It is pretty small and you put it in your pack. This will keep you warm and protected if it rains, wind, and putting this on top of your fleece is a great way to keep you insulated and warm no matter what happens. Next up, I did just have these items, so I decided I would talk about them. I do have a 52 hike challenge gaiter, neck gaiter. If you're not familiar with these, they do a lot. I'm not going to put it on, but it'll protect your neck if you need it as a beanie. Lots of things that would go under my extra layers. If it's really cold, I would put gloves in my bag because in the mornings when it's chilly, my hands get really cold. When it's wintertime, I'll do a beanie. So those are like my go-to essentials that I keep in my pack. Okay, so that is your insulation. Next up is illumination. Remember, if you had to stay out overnight, you want some way to illuminate. So here's what the one I'm currently using. It's a Petzl. This one wasn't too expensive. It was like $25 or something. A little bit about headlamps is that they're going to be more expensive depending on how far your light travels, and that's called your lumens. So I got a kind of a starting basic. I'm not going to do anything crazy. This works fine. Depending on what you're doing outside, you may need more or less, but I just wanted to let you know that is a consideration. You can talk to someone at REI when you're buying this or at your local outdoor retailer and ask them if you're just day hiking, a basic headlamp will work. You can also bring a flashlight, by the way, but this is just easier because for me, a lot of times if I'm starting at 4 in the morning, I'm usually using trekking poles. So with a lamp, you would have to be illuminating the way where this is like once you have it on, it does the trick itself. That's it, hands free, right? So this is why I recommend a headlamp. Also great for camping, all of that, even traveling. And yeah, there's going to be lots of settings. I'm not going to go over them, but some of these have a red light, which is nice for nighttime and not too bright. Lots to learn about headlamps, but just so you know, this is really important to have in your backpack for your 10 essentials. Okay. First aid supplies. Okay, let's talk about first aid. Yes, things can happen out there, right? Like you can have an injury, a cut. For day hikes, I just bring this little one. Okay, so this is by Adventure Medical Kits. I like to go in my medical kit and just revamp and make sure I have everything. I'm not going to get too in depth, but I will tell you I have repair tape for clothing. This has been a lifesaver. I have band-aids, some alcohol pads. I even have duct tape in here just because you never know. Lots of band-aids, sterile sponges. This is blister band-aid or aid. And as you can see, I've gone through a lot of it. And one of my favorite things for blisters is Luca tape. If I'm on the trail and I start feeling a hot spot, which is when you feel like, hey, I'm getting a blister, you want to stop and take care of it right away. So I wrap it. I find that band-aids don't work very well and they usually fall off. And something like this sometimes even doesn't hold. So I will sometimes put this on first. This is that felt, and then I will put the Luca tape over it. So that's really helpful. And that Luca tape is amazing and I highly recommend it. It saves me all the time whenever I start getting hot spots, which still happens, by the way, because hiking. I have pain meds because you might get a headache when you're out there. You just never know. There's some other stuff in here. This has a little wilderness first aid guide and stuff. Having some sort of any medications that are important, you might want to have like anti-nausea. The other thing that I keep in my little emergency kit is this is a survival blanket. And this, if you had to stay out overnight, would probably save you right here. I just wanted to share it fits in here. Yeah, I like going in this kit and reviewing it once every couple months and just checking in to see if I need to add anything or remove anything. Other things you might want to add are tweezers. Okay, so really small works really great. I've had to use it before, like I said, for many different occasions and reasons. So I'm going to put it in my bag. All right, let's move on into fire. So if you had to stay out overnight, it's important that you know how to build a fire, how to keep warm, how to create a fire and not burn anything down, right? One of the things you want to do is to learn how to build a fire and know the rules. Obviously, this would only be in a situation where you needed to build a fire to stay warm overnight. I won't get into fire building today, but I will say that this is like my emergency whistle that I carry. There are matches, it has a little compass attached. It also has a way that I can hide some things. Yeah, if I needed to start a fire, I know how to do that, and this would save me. So that's how I keep my matches. But you can also purchase a flint. There are other ways that you can carry some sort of fire creating device. So knowing how to create a fire is a life-saving survival skill. Let's move on. So, repair kit and tools, and this would include a knife. So, I love my Leatherman. I think it's one of the greatest things. And this one was, I think this one I got at one of those Sam's or Costco. I think I paid like 50 bucks for it. It has pliers and it has all kinds of goodies in there. I'm not going to open all of them, but the most important thing is this. In case you needed to cut something, you want to have a knife. Like I said, I am a big Leatherman fan, especially because it has all the things I need in there. You just never know. And I have had to use this before for little things. Like one time we were on the trail and someone's microspike got stuck and I was able to fix it for them. So this is important. Always carry that. And of course, it doesn't have to be a Leatherman. It could be any other brand or Swiss Army knife or whatnot, but it's important to have those repair tools. That was number 7. Number 8 is nutrition and extra food. We're not going to talk all about nutrition today, and that is a whole episode, but I wanted you to know that there are snacks and things that you should always carry in your pack. I always like to carry extra. Every couple months, I go in, I'll eat up my stuff and replace. So today, I'm just going to show you some snacks that I put in there besides nuts and things. I have these Bobo's little bake bars. That's great if, I'm getting hungry. These Goo waffles. These are the Stroop waffles. I have a couple here. You always want to have extras. Remember, if I had to stay out overnight, I need some survival food, right? I love bars. I take them on the trails. So whatever bars you're into, just put them in your pack. We're going to talk more about food and how much food to bring in another episode. All right, we're going to talk about hydration. We're almost actually done. Hydration. There's lots of ways to carry your water, carry your hydration. It's important to have water when you're hiking. That is the number one reason why people get rescued off the trail is because they don't have enough water. Don't let that be you. Always carry water. Even if you think you're just going for a little walk hike, you just never know what can happen when you're out there. I love these Nalgene bottles. I just got this one to replace my old one that I finally threw away. For me, if I'm going for a really long day, I carry electrolytes in the water bottle and I carry my water in a bladder like this or a reservoir. So this is the one that comes with my pack. I don't have it full right now because I just recently went on a hike and drank all my water. This actually tells you liters. Depending on how strenuous the hike is, 1 liter for every 3 miles. For me personally, if I'm going for 5 miles, I always fill it up anyway. And it also depends on the weather. This is a liter right here. So this will be okay for 2 to 3 miles. I think you should be fine. But if it's really hot, that's not going to cut it. So you are going to need more water. I think they even say like a gallon per day. We're going to get into hydration, by the way. Do not quote me today, but you need your water and always carry at least one of these if you're going out for an hour or less than 3 miles. No less than this. That's me being trail mom. Okay, we're at our last one. So, emergency shelter. I actually already showed you the emergency shelter, but I'm going to actually show you 2 things that I carry in my pack. It doesn't take up very much space. emergency poncho when I did Kilimanjaro and some of my gear failed. I really wish I would have had an emergency poncho. I did not, and it was really uncomfortable. Thankfully, I had a friend give me her extra one. And I actually even pulled out my emergency blanket for that. I would use these two as my emergency shelter. So you can have a bivy that's like a tiny little version of a tent almost. Like it just goes over the body. There's like an emergency bivy, but this works. These emergency blankets, if you needed to, you can put yourself inside your pack, put your feet in there, and then cover yourself with all the layers that you have. So I feel really confident that if I had to survive overnight with my fire, with these items on and all my layers, I should be able to survive most temperatures. Now, I will not get into if it's freezing temperatures, because that's a whole different story. But if you were on sunny day, warm day, and you had to stay out overnight, this should keep you warm at night. So, there's a couple more items here on the table that I wanted to talk about. This is my poop bag. I know a lot of people get grossed out by this, but if you have to go, you have to go. We should probably talk all about poop and going outdoors in another episode because I was scared for a long time, but now I'm not. Okay, TMI. But this bag has a trowel that you use to dig a hole. We can talk more about that later. I have a trash bag and I have toilet paper in case of an emergency. And yeah, I pack it out. I put everything in this trash bag and I trash it when I get home. I don't leave any toilet paper out there. And then this is a Kula cloth, and it was invented by a good friend, Anastasia Allison. And this is our 52 hike challenge edition that we did in collaboration with them. But basically, women, when you have to go to the potty and you don't want to use toilet paper, you use this. It's really easy to use. You unclip. This is antimicrobial. This is leak and waterproof, so nothing gets through. You just use the restroom and you shake off and then gently wipe, and you're done. No extra trash created. You don't need toilet paper. You can keep that in your trash bag, or I just hang off my pack. And then when I get home, I wash it. Some people get really grossed out by it, but if you think about it, sometimes if you just go outside and you squat and then put your undies back on, what's the difference? You still wash the undies. It took me a long time to do this, but I'm so glad I do it now. I feel like I'm helping to keep trash off the trails and also doing my part to save trees. So love that. And by the way, hand sanitizer, I always carry that. You can keep it in your bag, your poop bag or whatnot, or keep it in your pack somewhere. So I just wanted to give you that as a tip. And then the last thing that I think is going to help bring a lot of comfort and sense of I can do this because if something happens, I have a backup. So if you were in the backcountry and something happened and you needed help, I have a Spot GPS unit, and this is an older model. I don't have the latest and greatest, but ultimately, the point is that if something happened, there's a button on here that I can alert emergency services. There's a way that I can alert my family, let them know where I am. Knowing how to use this is really important. I'm not going to get into the details, but there are many companies out there. The Garmin one is a great one. You can now even text from the app. The iPhone now has a setting where you can use an emergency like satellite setting, but this is going to have a lot more if emergency services needed to come out and rescue you. Like this will get you directly to alert the authorities. I don't know too much about the latest with the iPhone and the capabilities of if you're out and what happens. So that will be something that I'll have to circle back with you on. So we've talked about all the 10 essentials. I know this is a long podcast, but it is important stuff. And that's my goal, is to give you all the resources and tools so you can go out there and be confident and feel safe and that you've got this. So everything fit in my pack. I just wanted to show you. There we go. My pack is ready to go. And I always keep this pack packed. I don't really take anything out. So I know all my things are in there in case of an emergency. And I always bring that when I'm going out hiking in the backcountry, especially new trails and with friends. If something happens to them, I want to make sure I have what I need to help them. I think the thing I want to close with that I started with really was to just get started. I gave you a lot of great ways to get started, to get out there, to get comfortable. I think the last thing I want to leave this with is after you go and do it, to circle back with yourself, to check in with yourself, to have a conversation with yourself, make that a normal part of life, to check back in and say, how did I do? How did I feel? What do I need to work on? Remember, when fear comes up, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn something new. And yes, it is going to be uncomfortable. And yes, it's going to feel scary at first. But guess what? Like, what you're going to gain from learning all this stuff that makes you uncomfortable is going to make you the most prepared hiker, is going to make you self-sufficient, is going to allow you to have all these amazing adventures and not have to wait for anyone. So, what do you have to lose? All right. So I hope that this podcast has made you excited at the possibility. I didn't know anything about hiking, and I feel like a very confident outdoors woman now. I feel very confident in navigating. I feel very confident in trusting myself and being able to be a guide for you. I feel very confident that I could help you to get out there because if I'm someone who started not knowing anything, who was afraid, and I'm not saying I don't get afraid even still today, but I still go out and I do what I can. And one of the biggest ways of doing that is getting educated. It's almost like, okay, if I know what I know and I did the steps, then I know I'm going to be okay. Yeah, get out there, get started. I hope that this was a good episode. Please share this with your friends. Follow us, like us, check us out at 52hikechallenge.com. I will add some links to this podcast so you can check out the 10 essentials. We have an affiliate link through rei.com. So if you buy anything that helps to support this work, that's really important. And also, please feel free to join the challenge and support this work. All right, I'll see you in the next episode of this season. See you on the trails.